everybody, and welcome to Poland Daily Travel as we continue to take you through the ups and downs of the Warsaw Uprising. Standing here in Szpitalny Street, and this is an important building from that time. The famous chocolate producer owned it then as they do now. And in this rather elaborate building, as you can see, it's been carefully restored since the war. Not too many bullet holes. You'll find you can enjoy an elegant cup of coffee inside. And if you were to go to the basement, you would see where a great deal of local residents were hiding during the uprising. Not only that, there was a clandestine radio station because the Home Army was using, Polish Home Army of course, was using radio to broadcast not just news of the uprising, but also music and things like that, you know, some semblance of normal life, trying to take over. People think, gosh, once the uprising started, it must have been horrible. People must have been desperate and sad and depressed and a gloomy atmosphere. Completely the opposite. First of all, remember, a lot of the fighters were very young and full of natural exuberance and the idea that they were invincible and never going to die. But not only that, you had the sense of relief after being occupied once again since 1939. Only that 20-year period between the two wars when Poland had been free of occupation for 123 years before that. So, you know, the people were ecstatic. There was kind of a joyous mood. You know, even you can say parties being held, things like this. It's a curious thing that even in the Jewish ghetto uprising, they say that right to the end, the people were having a drink, if they could find one, and getting together and playing cards and dancing, and right up to the end. So there's something about the human spirit that is indomitable in certain cases. And to use Hemingway's phrase, there's the ultimate expression might be that grace one shows under pressure. It's a test at any rate. And certainly, it's hard to find an example of a city which showed more grace under pressure than Warsaw did. So during the day, chocolate, hot chocolate, and coffee, and cakes. And at night, when there's liable to be fighting going on, or bombing, because the Germans used the Stuka bombers, they used artillery and everything else that they could bring to bear. High-range bombers to take back the city. You know, it's rather like the Russians have been doing in the Ukraine. They didn't have a lot of soldiers, so they pounded the city from the air and with artillery, with bombs. At any rate, life goes on. I guess that's the message. That imposing building behind me, yes, the Palace of Culture and Science, was a gift from Joseph Stalin to the Polish people after World War II, when he'd done so much to aid Poland during the Warsaw Uprising that he did nothing. But more of that in a subsequent episode. He did nothing until it was too late. And then he saddled Poland with this. He said, would you like either the big building behind curtain number 1, or the metro, gleaming new metro system behind door number 2? The Poles chose door number 2, and of course they got this. There was never really a choice. That was just Stalin's way of joking around. But we'll get to him later, and we'll do a good job on him. He'll get everything he deserves. So, now, on this street is a theater called the Palladium. It still existed during the war. The Palladium Theater now has music and some theater. They have concerts. You might see one of your favorite bands there in a smaller venue, about 500 seater, or you might attend a special party there, one of the industries. But during World War II, during the Warsaw Uprising, the Palladium Theater, just up the street from the chocolate and coffee shop that we just saw, was a scene of films about the Warsaw Uprising called Warsaw is Fighting. And they would show those to keep the morale up and also to show people what was going on in various sections of the city. Brave cameramen, like my cameraman Wola, extremely brave, and they produced the footage that would go and be shown nightly in that cinema. So imagine, you've been under oppression for the 5 years of the war, from 1939 to 1944. Started in September 1939, it's now August 44. 5 years. And suddenly you got the freedom to show films in the cinema, to have your own radio station, as we said previously in the episode. There were also newspapers being published and broadsheets and magazines, all of these giving information about what was going on. An immediate resurgence of Polish culture, just like that, in the blink of an eye. So ready were people for that change. At any rate, we're standing in the middle of the center of Warsaw. It doesn't get more middle than this. And this was all from the 2nd of August, taken by the Poles. It took the Germans some time to take it back. Now, stay tuned for the next episode. We'll be showing you some more from the center and telling you stories of a couple of very important buildings that were fought over. One captured on the first day of the war, on August 1st, 1944, and the other captured about 23 days later. So the Poles and the Germans looking at each other from high up and not so far away. See you on the next episode as we follow the Warsaw Uprising by locations and stories. I'm Will Richardson. Thank you for watching.